Hi everyone, welcome back to episode 7 of Chai and Chat with Neha. Today we are going to talk about a really important topic that I felt we don't hear much about around and today I have the guest with me who how I actually got to know her is I saw that she was following me on Chai and Chat with Neha on Instagram, and all of a sudden, I realized, oh wow, she's doing amazing work herself already. And before I go on, today with me is Tritika here, and who is a mental health advocate for women. So, welcome to Chai and Chat with Neha, Tritika. And could you please tell us a little bit about yourself and what work you're doing?
Yep. Thank you so much, Neha, for introducing me. As you mentioned, my name is Tritika and I'm currently based in USA. I'm a mother of two kids. One is a 6-year-old boy and today is the birthday of my 1-year-old little girl. So I'm a mom of two and I started this page that you are talking about, Healing Mom, Ohio Healing Mom. I'm based in Ohio. So, the reason I became mental health advocate is because when I delivered my second baby, I went through something called PPD. And during that journey, I realized not many people were aware of it. Not many people were taking mental health, especially women's mental health, seriously. And that encouraged me, that gave me a purpose that why I need to have this platform, why I need to talk more about it so that we can normalize this, that this happens. And women are also normal human beings who sometimes need to reset their mental health or their brain to enjoy their life, to be heard. I think that's more important. So yeah, that was the reason I started this page, and this is my purpose now.
Wow, just listening to this, I mean, like just thinking and going back to one generation before, right? This
Correct.
was not a normal thing. Like we have seen our mothers, they work tirelessly without even thinking if there's anything going on. And that's what we have seen, like, especially back in India, right? And we normalized it. Like it is okay for, the moms to be in the kitchen and, you can just say that, oh, can you bring me this? Or can you give me this? Or can you make this without even thinking that, they probably would want something. And the problem is what I personally felt, they themselves didn't know
Correct.
that, like they need a break. They need the time.
Yeah, and I think most of the times you will hear this word supermom, superwoman. I think it's just a propaganda, that we even blindly thought it is something to be proud of, but I think it's not. I don't want to be a superwoman. I don't want to be a superhuman being. I'm a normal human being with normal needs, right? I also want to enjoy my life like other people. So putting mothers in this preset mold and expecting them to follow that
Mm.
expectation, I think that's where we got it wrong. I think that's where we need to realize that we do not want any super tags. We want to just be normal human beings and enjoy our life, even if when we are mothers. So
Right.
that's where I think our moms got those tags, super moms. And I think at this point, me, I don't want that tag. I just want to be a woman, a mother who just wants to enjoy her life. And I want to encourage my fellow moms as well to just, don't try to fit in this superwoman or super mom tag and just enjoy your dreams. Whatever you want to do, you want to dance, you want to sing, you want to, do hiking, whatever dreams you have, regardless what role you are in, do it. That's important for your mental health. That's important for you. And that's self love.
Nice. Very well said. I totally agree with that, right? Rather than putting ourselves in a mold and thinking, and the problem with that is, right, the preconceived notion of the super mom is that we don't, there is not a stopping point that we think, we always compare ourselves with other people, how they are doing better, and we are not able to do
Correct.
that better. Right, there is that competition like always going around, right? Like, to just because we have that preconceived notion in our head, are we doing enough? And we are questioning ourselves in this whole journey, right? And
Hmm.
that's where the problem arises,
Especially in women.
right?
Especially in women. If you notice that, you know, in the old times, people would say two women cannot be friends, right? Because they were made to compete with each other. They were made
Correct.
to, they were always compared with fellow women, and that's how they started having this feelings of competition. Whereas we need to now, as this, aware generation, put a pause on it. You are not my competitor. We are part of a community. I am your
Right.
ally. You are my ally. When we will start to stand up for each other, it will be a world that I dream of, and I hope that's a world we leave for our daughters.
Right, right. Oh my God. You have touched a nerve which I am working for as well. Like when we talk about support, right? Let's just support each other. There's no competition. There's enough for everyone to take, right? That's I guess that's what we all are working towards right now. So why not work together and help each other? And not just like we are not in talking in terms of PPD in general as well, right?
Correct. And I
And
think
let me
this was the reason, where lack of community in women, lack of unity in women make us as a community weaker. And that is one of the causes of PPD as well, where, a woman's need is downplayed. If a woman is crying for help, needing for support, we just tell them that everyone goes through it. You're not, special. And what do you mean you are crying? You just had a baby. You should be happy, right? So
Right.
if there was an awareness, right, and if we as a woman were standing up for each other, I think we would be able to address this PPD issue as well, where a woman is standing up for a new mom and telling the world she needs help, right?
Right.
Stop downplaying her, stop dismissing her feelings or her experience. We need to help her. Instead of saying, I also gave birth to a baby. I never experienced that. It's a privilege that if one woman didn't go through it, I didn't go
Right.
through it with my first baby. It's anyone can get it. And we as a woman, it's a responsibility on us because we understand our bodies. We know what happens to our body. So a person who can explain what PPD is or what a woman is going through is a fellow woman. So it's our responsibility to be aware of what PPD is, what our fellow women might be going through, and how we need to stand up for each other and show up as a community, as a village.
Right. Wow, Tritika, like right now, I feel that energy from you, right? Like how you feel, like you're giving me goosebumps. Like, and it's not in a bad way. Like I am right now feeling the energy that you have. And with that, like that's what I've noticed. Like when somebody is with you, supporting you, and their energy is positive, energy is transferable, right? So talk to if they're sad, right? Like eventually you will get that energy. So I'm talking in terms of PPD right now, right? Because they are already sad. And if you get the energy, like right now, the energy that you're showing here, to be honest, like I feel it. I'm sure viewers are feeling it as well. And I can see how even your page has the same, right?
Mhm.
Like, and that's what I drawn towards myself. I'm like, oh wow, she's doing amazing work, and why not get her? And when we think about podcast, and this is from my point of view, like we think like, oh, we have to get like certified doctors and all those people who, I mean, those are good, but we need to get people who are going through it or who went through it, talk about their experience. And that's where I felt I need to talk to you, and I need to get you here. And whatever we are going to talk about, like it's not going to be a medical advice. We are just talking from the terms of our own experiences and from where we have come up with, right?
Correct.
And
And
with
thank you
that,
for saying that. I am not coming giving any medical advice. I am coming across as a woman who went through PPD, who probably as other women didn't know she was going through PPD, how
Mhm.
I got access and came out of it, and the experiences that I felt might be resonating to other women as well. And
Mhm.
it's an awareness, you know and once you go through something like PPD is just a trauma, right? Once you experience PPD, you go through some traumatic events, and after any trauma that you go through, you need to heal yourself, right? And that is exactly what my page is: healing mom. Okay, so how to heal yourself after any traumatic event. PPD was my traumatic event. It could be any traumatic event for other women. It
Right.
happens, but then how you come out of it, how you despite all those negative thoughts or negative, grieving moments, how you come out of it and chase joy in your life back. Because you deserve happiness. You cannot spend your life crying or, grieving the whole life. It happens, but then we need to get that happiness back in our life. And that's what healing is all about.
Right. And with that point, I want to touch on like there's so many moms, and this is like the crucial time where people take some steps which are really, really drastic in terms of, some girls go through suicides, right? We have seen that because there's so much going on, like, and it all comes from the dismissive, I should not say just partners, but people around that person, right? And that person feels like nobody's like understanding what I'm going through. And I guess while we are talking more and more about it, let's just take a step back. And I want to address the point that since you've said that you have gone through it. So how did you figure out that, oh, you're going through a postpartum depression? So which generally, so when, because we have been talking on and on about it, I just want to give a background. Like postpartum depression happens after the women gives birth, right? Like just in case the viewers who are listening to us, they're not sure like what we are talking about. And it's a joyous moment for everyone around, right? But are we taking enough care of the mothers here, right, who are new moms? So let me go back to the question that I was asking you. So how did you realize that there's something not right?
Well, the answer is I did not. I did not
Okay,
know that
okay.
something was wrong. I kept going through it. So I was crying for no reasons, but I thought maybe I'm crying because I'm tired, right? I'm not getting enough sleep. Probably that's why. Because when you come back home, continuously you are just feeding the baby. You don't even get time to sleep, right?
Right.
So I thought I'm not the only one. Other women go through that as well. Maybe it's first 1 or 2 weeks which are going to be hard. After that, it will start getting better. But it did not. I was
Hmm.
overly tired. I did not want to eat. The lack of appetite, which again I tied it back to that I'm just tired. I'm just sad. I thought
Mhm.
it's just baby blues because baby blues happen 1 or 2 weeks. It will get better. But then for months it kept going on. And
Hmm.
then one day, my husband asked me a normal question. I don't recall what the question was, but I could not respond to him in my normal voice. I mean, I was taking long pauses. I could not articulate a sentence. And
Hmm.
I was repeating what I was saying.
Hmm.
Like if you would ask me, are you hungry? Yeah, I think, that the speech was very slow. And I kept repeating myself. And my husband looked at me and was like, you don't sound you.
Hmm.
I feel like you need to connect to the doctor. And
Hmm.
I knew that there is something called PPD.
Hmm.
Is that what it is? Right? At that
Right.
time, I reached out to one of my friends who
Hmm.
also gave birth to a baby. And I explained myself to her that this is happening. She was like, yes, please go to the doctor. You need help. I went through it too. My friend went through it too. She was like, I got my medicine. I'm feeling absolutely fine now. Please go to your gynecologist. So the lack of awareness,
Hmm.
and I feel like even in the medical institutions, they failed as well, in providing me the proper guidance. Because what they would say is, are you having intrusive thoughts? I did not had any intrusive thoughts. I didn't want to harm myself or my baby, right?
Hmm.
But these were the subtle signs. I did not know that
Right.
these were the signs that could be PPD. So I went to the doctor, I got the therapy. So I got the therapy and that helped me started regaining myself and I started feeling better. So lack of awareness on my side and thanks to my husband who pointed it out, because if he wouldn't had, I wouldn't have reached out to my friend for help, and thanks to my friend who was aware of it. So ultimately it's the awareness. So if even
Right.
my friend wouldn't know, she would be like, it will be fine, you're just thinking too much. I didn't know what would have happened, right? So
Right.
at some point, an aware person can help
Hmm.
you. And that is
Yes.
why it is so important to spread the awareness, so that as my friend was able to help me, in future I could help someone as well. And that can only happen if I'm aware of what are the symptoms.
Right. So, with that, like, I'm thinking in terms of, so you were able to ask questions, right? There would be people who are struggling with that, making that step, right? There is a judgment involved, right? So, how, and with that, like, I also need to touch on that you've also helped somebody else, right?
Hmm.
So, we'll come to that point.
Yeah.
But how to encourage people that it's okay, like, what I'm trying to say here is like, how can we take that stigma out of people, right? Like, should I ask, should I not ask? So, those people are still struggling to ask questions. How we can encourage those people?
Correct. And I think this is where I also want to talk about the systemic misogyny,
Mm,
where we have not created a safe space for women to
mm,
come out and speak up their mind, to come
right.
out and tell what is going on, right? What
Mm,
my needs are. Because most moms will feel ashamed that if I tell that I'm crying, people will say, you just had a baby. What kind of selfish mom you are, right? Like everyone gives birth, you are not the special one. And I remember that even in the old times, what you just said, that I was in a condition where I was able to ask questions. But what about those women who can't even ask questions? And I know many examples. I know, from our older generation, they would tell me stories that, oh, somebody gave birth and she gone crazy, right? She was talking something else for a couple of months and she could not take care of the baby. And now I think about it, she was going through PPD, and she was in the condition where she couldn't even ask for help,
right.
right? Because that was that extreme PPD. And that's where awareness was so important. In that time, there was no awareness.
Right.
Nobody helped her. And I know that woman personally, nobody helped her. And after a few months, she just got better without any medical help. And she still
Wow.
holds the tag that she's crazy.
And that's so sad, right? Like, and that's where the support piece comes in, right? How are we failing as a society to come up and helping each other? And it's not just PPD in general, right? Clearly we are, right? Because we are tagging, right? We are tagging women to be crazy. Another tag that I've been hearing is, oh, she is PMSing, right? I mean, do people understand enough that women go through a lot, like even for monthly cycles, right?
Hmm.
There are times that it might look like that we are going crazy, because yes, we are, like, things are all around, right? Like, for our hormones, I mean, we are not, we are making a baby, so those hormones are at play, right? And then when we give birth, right, if I talk about myself, like, I feel that I had PPD and it went undiagnosed. Even I didn't even know. Like, my thought in motherhood, because my son got eczema, and then my mental health took a setback, like, for that, because I had to keep myself behind my son because his needs were much more important, and that's what I thought, right? Like for me, like, I can take care of myself later. My son needs me more right now, and that's every mother's instinct, right?
Correct.
But as a society, I mean, in general, do we support each other enough that, nobody should, and coming to that, like, we should support each other enough so that nobody should have this feeling that I am all alone in this. And that alone feeling is where people take drastic steps.
Yep. And I think this is again where systemic misogyny come, right?
Yes,
We,
yes.
our society somehow failed to create a space for women. If all these things that we go through, if men were going through this would have been widely talked about topic. This would have been so normalized, many ads will be there, people will be openly talking about it. If men would go through this, I mean,
Yes.
some men experience PPD as well, but not as many as women. So that is why
Mm,
this topic is considered taboo. Women need to hold that superwoman tag. They cannot go through this. They are super moms. Moms are supposed to be happy after giving birth, but we don't talk about it. And then when we don't talk about it, there is no awareness. Even fellow women don't know, right? And then with this thing where we are designed to compete with each other, there's a lack of community, even with ourselves. So I think so many things need to change, which are so deeply rooted. Even if we leave PPD alone, first we need to talk about how to create a community, how to create
Yes.
allyship in women where we are standing up for each other, we are listening to each other's needs. I might not
Wow.
experience PPD, but you did. Tell me more about it. How are you feeling? How
Yes.
can I help you? Right? So that space is lacking. And that is what I think I'm trying to do with my page. Creating a page, a safe space where women can talk about those issues, creating a community where we are standing up for each other, where we are talking about self prioritization, self love, our own needs, our dreams, our desires. You do not just kill your dreams just because you became a mother. You still, have a career. You want to achieve some goals in your lives, even being a mother. So I want to emphasize that because once we have a community, I think that's when we will have a safe space to come out and share our experiences about mental health, about topics like PPD, and that's when awareness will come.
Correct.
So it's a
Correct.
long journey.
It is, it is. And I'm so glad that we are talking about it now and bringing that awareness. So, whosoever is listening, right? Be it a partner, be it a family member, I hope this conversation gets that even a small awareness of, oh, there is something like that, and we need to support the women right after the birth. It's not that, eating right and sleeping more, right? It's not about that. It's about the safe space that we can provide for new mothers
Correct.
and
We
women
do
in
take
general.
care of, yeah, we do take care of the physical needs. A moms will get
Right.
hot prepared
Yes.
food. Everyone will take care of her physical needs. Mental
Right.
needs are ignored. You know,
Correct.
Making sure that someone is there to listen to her, she feels supported, she feels happy. Those
Mm.
needs are completely ignored.
Mm.
Sometimes those are the reasons that become the reasons of PPD.
Correct, correct. Because at that point in time, like if I put myself in somebody's shoes, right? Because it went undiagnosed for me. I mean, it was blank. Like I didn't know how I was feeling. I didn't know what I need to do. And then there's another thing that goes, right? Like, because we had our life before the baby, and especially for first time moms, right? And now that, are we mentally prepared for that shift, right? Because we think, oh, just like making a baby is like just 9 month worth of time, and then we should go back to our regular lives. Like, and when I'm saying regular, previous lives, right? And that's where the whole problem starts,
Correct.
when that
I'm so
life is
glad you mentioned it because just think about all the ads that you see on TV, about motherhood. It's all
yes,
about mom cuddling with the baby, beautiful memories. It does happen. It
right,
happens,
right.
but it doesn't happen overnight. A mom's life is completely changed within a matter of a day, right? Where a person was sleeping properly, eating properly, enjoying and going out with the friends, everything just changes. So some women, not instantly will be able to connect to the child, and it happens. That when
Yes.
you are not able to connect to the child because you feel like your life has changed. Was I ready for it? I didn't sign up for this. I only wanted a
Yes.
baby, but all these things that are coming, you can't
Mm.
be prepared. And
Correct.
it's a journey that it takes few weeks, few
Mm-hmm.
days to connect with the baby and start feeling motherhood in a positive way. And sometimes you will be frustrated, because you're not getting enough time, you're not getting to watch your favorite series, all your personal needs are still there. They don't
Right.
just go away because you became mother. So
Right.
it's a lot of shift on mother. I don't want to ignore father's shifts as well. They are
Yes.
there. But as a mother, you have to be there with the baby 24/7.
Right.
Your life changed a lot. So
Mm-hmm.
at that point, we need to normalize even on the TVs and ads and all the things that we watch. What is that unfiltered motherhood? What it
Correct.
can also look like. So because when we see those ads and we introspect our experience, it doesn't match. And I'm like, am I a bad mom? Why am I not feeling like that? Right? So you
Wow.
internalize your feelings. You're not able to come out because you have this feeling of shame. that
Mm-hmm.
maybe I am not supposed to feel that. I will get better. And if you keep holding it up, your PPD keeps getting worse and worse, then you may get at the intrusive thoughts point as well.
Yes, yes.
So, this is how, again, as a society, we are failing because we are not showing that another side of the coin.
Right, right. And I'm so glad you have touched on the point because I've heard from my friends as well that they are not able to connect to the baby, right? And when we talk these things out in the world, I have seen like people are getting shamed for that. Like, how can you be like this? Like, a mother should be able to connect to the baby, right? That's the norm out there. We as a society, now I can say, and probably controversial, but like, we are failing to show how it should be. Like, you pretty much touched on it, right? And it's okay to not to connect to baby. I mean, it's totally normal. Can we make it normal? Right? And I'm so glad we are talking about this over here so that if a new mother is listening to this, she knows that it's all validated. All her feelings are valid. All what she's going through, all are valid. And if she needs help, there is a help available, like in the form of doctors, in the form of nurses. They could go connect with them, like if they feel like it. But yes, it's all normal. Everyone goes through it, but the problem here is not many people are talking about these things.
Correct. Correct. And I think people feel like PPD is just like your hormones get imbalanced, which happens, but there
Right.
could be some factors that are adding up to it, right? For example, a gender disappointment. Some women were expecting a girl, they got a boy or a girl, right? Or it could be the lack of support, especially in the immigrant community where people are living far from their family members, they are alone. And it could be, the partner is not supportive, lack of food, those physical needs that you have. So these things add up to those hormones that are totally imbalanced. You are not able to think properly or think through it, right? And if you would have been feeling all these things that we just talked about when you were not a mom, you probably will be able to get through it, right? Because you are able to think properly, you are able to make a plan. But when you are a new mom, your hormones are everywhere. You are not able to think through it. You keep getting in those negative thoughts, and you need somebody's hand to pull
Yes.
you out of it. That is so
100%.
important.
Yes.
And in my case, my husband and my, 6-year-old who would leave me those sticky notes, Mom, I love you. Mom, I hope you're feeling good. So those things helped me.
Yeah. Yeah. You knew that there is somebody who's looking for you, right? Like, wow. Like, and with this, I feel so sad. Like, for people who either due to the lack of awareness, either due to this society has made the normal out there, right, are not prepared enough, like when the pregnancy and all these things happen, and when all of the shocker comes in just after, like how life changes, right? Like, and they're not able to make the informed decisions then. Like, I guess that's where what we are talking about right now, how to bring that awareness. And with that, Chitika, I also want to talk about, and I know you have touched on these points, but just to make sure that we have all these points said again, like what people have gotten wrong about people.
I think before I saying what they have gotten wrong, they probably didn't get it, right? We need to just understand that it happens. There is something called postpartum depression. It
Yes.
happens. It's normal. The woman has not gone crazy. Right, first of all, let's make sure there is no taboo connected to it, because she's not going to be like that forever. It's a temporary condition that for which we have a medical support. She just needs that support, right? Even for any, when you get sick, when you have a flu, there are medicines available, right? Then
Yes.
we need to also normalize this mental condition where you just need medical support. Your gynecologist should be your best friend, not just till you give birth, even afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe even after that, you have 1 month or 2 months, those appointments. That's when you don't only just want to talk about your baby, you want to talk about you, yourself. And
Yes.
I believe no could do some better job in evaluating women on not just asking them, are you having some intrusive thoughts, but those subtle
Mm-hmm.
signs that even women doesn't realize that she's experiencing, and those could be early signs of PPD. So,
Right.
awareness. The more and more awareness we can spread around it, the better world we can create for the new moms.
Right. Wow, very well said. And I mean, for people out there, just asking or just sending a text, hey, do you need anything? Or hey, how are you doing? Right? A simple message or a simple phone call. Do you think I
It's
can
so
help?
important. It is
It
so
is.
important. I made my personal mission that if I know someone gave birth to a baby, I will send them weekly, daily messages just asking, how are you feeling, mom? Not about the baby. Babies come secondary because there are so many people asking about baby. But who is asking
Yes.
about the mom? Mom, how are you
Yes.
feeling? Tell me about your feelings. Are you feeling happy, tensed, hungry? Is there anything I can bring for you? We need a group of people. We need, every new mom needs a group of female who are just reaching out, asking about them. How are you feeling?
Yes. Yes. And I think to this, coming back to the same thing, like this is how we encourage people to speak up about it, to talk about it. And if somebody is reaching out, it's important to just talk how you're feeling. Even if you're not understanding what you're going through, just talk about it that this is what I'm going through. And the right person will
Mhm.
pull you out of it,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. Yeah,
With that, like I know your page is doing that, right? But how we can make that safe space for people? Because I mean, there is something called as, oh, it's okay, I don't want to say this word, but for lack of better word, like toxic positivity, that also comes with it, right? Like how people, they are not being dismissive, they're trying to help, right? But they don't know what words to use, right? And that's where I think we need more awareness as well. What words to use? Because sometimes people don't use the right words. And it is taken as, I don't know what she wanted to say. Is she judging me? Like, because I came. So I guess we need that awareness as well. Like, how one is how somebody can get the support, right? That's one piece of it. Second, how to give the support, how to give that empathy, right? So how we can encourage that safe space outside, like if we have to start today.
correct. I think you used a very good word, empathy, right? Empathy comes regardless you are aware of PPD or not, right?
Mm-hmm.
I may
Right.
not know what PPD is, but I see you need something. I see you are not you. You need
Mm-hmm.
help, right?
Right.
Are you empathetic enough to listen to that person? What's going
Mm.
on, right? And not be dismissive about it, not say, what are you saying? I never experienced that, right?
Right.
That is the, I think, personality trait, right? I don't know if I can do much about it, but this is something, how people are made, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you are empathetic, even if you don't know about PPD, you will be able to help that person because you are there for that new mom. You are there listening to that new mom. You can say, I don't know what you're going through, but you need help. Reach out to doctor, right? I can Google. Looks like it's PPD. There is something called PPD. You may want to check with the doctor. You can only do that if you're empathetic enough. Now, you may know about PPD and not be an empathetic person. Even that won't help, right? You don't want to help. You're like, okay, I figured it out on my own. You should be able to figure it out on your own. That's when, as a community, allyship is so important, right?
Right.
Even
Right.
partners who are women ally will play so much important role, right? They stand
Yes.
up for women. They stand up for you. If my husband wouldn't have pointed out, I probably would have been same in the same circle, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's important to have that women ally, right? Being empathetic, and then more and more awareness. I cannot
Yes.
emphasize how important it is to normalize this because probably even before I started this page, even I had a few thoughts. Should I start it or should I talk about it? But
Right.
I realized that there are so many women that I was talking with, all of them went through it. So I thought that if it was so normal, if it was happening to so many people, why we do not
Yes.
talk about it? I was ignorant before I gave birth to my second baby. I was too. I did not know that it was so common. And those of my friends also never shared with me, right? Who went through PPD, but they were able to help me.
Mm,
So now I want to be that someone for some another new mom who probably needs help, and I can guide her in the right direction. I can guide her to the resources that helped me, and so that I can pull her out of it.
right. And coming, I have two questions here. So let's start with the very first one, because right now you touched on a very nice topic, and I also said this earlier. You have helped somebody coming out of PPD. Let's
Yes.
talk about that.
Yes. So I feel like, anything that you go through in your life, the universe has a purpose behind it. So I feel like
Yes, yes,
I went through PPD because I had to help someone. This is how I connect. Maybe that was one person, maybe I'll be able to help more people. And that is my purpose. That is why I went through it. That is the role that universe gave me, and I want to fulfill that role. So that friend of mine reached out to me with the same feelings that we talked about. She was ashamed that she was feeling that, right? She was crying continuously, and she was not feeling any need to eat, all those symptoms. And
great.
she was like, I don't know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I instantly said, oh my God, you remind me what I went through. You need help. Firstly, even she ignored. She was like, nope, this is not that. I don't think this is that. It's just that I'm not happy. I'm like, this is exactly what is. At
Right,
first, she didn't reach out to medical help, even though I told her, you need medical. She said, no, it should get better. Weeks went by. And then she reached out to me again. It's getting worse. And, she started talking about that I'm not able to connect with the baby. I
mm,
knew this is PPD. I knew she needed help.
yes,
And I was like, when are you meeting your doctor, gynecologist? She was like, yeah, I will have that appointment. So I was like, could you please talk about it? Okay, you don't say that you're going through PPD. Just tell what you're experiencing and let your doctor tell you. She
right.
did that, and she came back and she was like, yeah, I got some medicines. Like, that's exactly what you needed. I'm glad you talked about it. And those first doses didn't help her. Like, it helped her temporarily, but after the medicine was out, she was going through it again. So it was a course that she had to complete. And then after, I was keeping an eye on her every day, twice a day, asking her, how are you feeling? How are you feeling? And then after a few weeks, like past 3 weeks ago, I received a message. I'm happy.
Wow.
I feel myself again. Thank you so much. And that was the day I felt like this is why I went through it. This is why I experienced it, so that I could help her. Because if when she reached out to me, if I would have dismissed her feelings, because if I didn't go through PPD, I would have dismissed her feelings, then she probably wouldn't have been able to come out of it. So I think that was the purpose that universe, the God gave me, and I will keep doing what I'm doing to spread more awareness around it, to create that community of women where we are supporting each other and creating the safe space for each other.
Wow. And coming back to this, like, should doctors do more in terms of when we are going back to doctors for like regular checkup, right? Should they ask more questions so that, even if, let's say, some girls are not ready to share it with friends, right? Like for the judgment purposes,
Correct.
or any other stigma that they have, right? Can doctors start asking, and this is probably the question to some medical person, right? Right? Like that, can they start asking, digging more, how you feeling? Not just how you're feeling, but like, oh, do you see something like this? Or there probably that there are medical symptoms or something that tells them that, not that, for example, patient is coming to them and telling them, right? Because they themselves wouldn't know that they are going through it, right? For example, I'm the biggest example here. I didn't know,
Yeah,
right? Like, and doctors, to me, I don't remember they even dig through, like, are you okay? Like, are you feeling? I know there are things that they ask, right, to
sure.
female, are you feeling safe at home and stuff
Yes.
like that. But I think we need to do more in terms of how we can dig into it so that people can open up maybe a little bit, and then they feel that, or they can gauge that how things are doing.
Yes. And I think I'm glad you asked this question because I remember there is a checklist
Mm-hmm.
that when you go to the doctor, there's a checklist that they ask you to fill out. Are you feeling happy? Are you feeling sad? On a rate of 0 to 10, how much would you rate? Now, they can only know that you're going through PPD if you answer those questions honestly, without any shame, right?
Yes, yes.
Now, this could be something related to our communities, that, in a South Asian community, if this is considered a taboo, if this is
Mm,
considered something to be ashamed of, a South Asian woman might not answer it honestly as compared to from another ethnicity, right?
mm,
So that, are doctors aware of it? That there is also a difference asking same question to different ethnicity, right? Because something is
right.
not considered normal in one community versus the other. So
Mm,
so that's where, I think, I again don't want to speak on the medical staff based
right,
behalf, but there is a need to also understand people from their background and trying to pull them out, or instead of speaking as doctors, speaking more like a therapists, right? So that even if you are hesitant to tell the truth, how can we still get that information? How can we still know that this person is not how they should be behaving?
right, right. I think that's a very good point you brought out that, certain communities are not as same as, like, for example, here, right? We as South Asians, we are brought up with a very different mindset. So, like how you said, not answering the answer sheet might not be giving them the information that the women are going through after giving birth. And I feel like even I don't know if I go back, like it's been a while since I've been through that journey of delivering, and going back, everyone in the room talks about the baby, right? Is someone coming to check on us? I don't even remember somebody talked to me, or like somebody wanted to just like get that information, how you feeling, your life has changed, but things like that, like just a normal conversation. Everyone was for the baby, right? Oh, how's the baby doing? Is the baby feeding well? So that pressure is another good point that I came across with just now, is feeding, right? Feeding is another stigma that have we have created, right? I remember going through it. Oh, am I producing the milk enough for my baby? Like XYZ is producing so much. Like, why am I not producing that much, right? This and this comes right after, right? Because you have
Correct.
to feed the baby. So I don't feel that I was informed enough. And this is what I'm talking from my own experience 6 years back, that, this is because breastfeeding is another journey. And
Yes.
that's where our mental health take a step back, right? Because we are thinking about, oh, like, am I not making enough milk? And again, as society, we are again judgmental, right? So people don't want to say it. There are some herbs and things available, and we are trying on our own. I remember trying on my own. But did you feel that as well? I'm just trying to see if it's, and I'm still talking in terms of like, because I don't know. I haven't talked to anyone about it, right?
Yep.
So
Yeah, I would
yeah.
say that this is another reason that I think I probably should have added in the list that we I just mentioned earlier. This is another leading factor why women can go through stress, anxiety. That, am I producing enough milk? Is that enough for the baby, right?
Mm,
Because baby's gonna keep waking up. You have this urge that you do want to feed the baby, but am I
yes.
making enough, right? Some women do not make enough because babies are not latching properly, right? There are so many things connected to it. It's the most natural thing, but comes that doesn't come naturally. So there is a
Yes.
lot of process behind it, and some women do it effortlessly, some women do not, because babies are different, right? I remember getting the latching assistant 3 or 4 times because
Mm,
a baby was not latching properly. So that also, add up to the list of anxieties, list of things that you are stressed about, and keep on going in your thoughts and your PPD. So
mm,
and I remember this friend of mine, when she visited one of her doctor, she gave her medicine, but then she refused to give her more because she was like, oh, but you need to produce milk, right? Now, this is
okay.
where I was just like, okay, are we prioritizing baby's health over mom's, right? I understand we need to feed the baby, but at what cost? At the
Right, right.
cost of mother going, you know, in her anxious thoughts, we need
Yes.
to help her as well.
Yes.
Maybe from a medical perspective, I don't know if those medicines have impact on the feed. Probably there is. But are we refusing to help mom at that point? Right?
Right.
Because I have always heard fed baby is, healthy baby. I get it. We do want to make sure that babies are naturally fed, breastfed, right? But we also want to make sure that moms are feeling healthy enough to do so. If not, that's when we can switch to formula or some other sources, donated milks, right? There are other resources available. Why we are forcing
Yes.
mothers when they are not in the condition to feed the babies? So
Yes.
babies are always, put at priority over the mothers. And that's when even mothers, try to tend to ignore their own needs. And in this whole process, they just forget themselves. They forget their needs.
Yes. So much information that we're talking today, and it hits home, right? Because I mean, I have been through it, you have been through it, and we have seen it all. Like you have two kids, right? I
Yes,
have one. But regardless, right? Like we all go through something or the other. Maybe not PPD at that time, right? Maybe feeding stigma, right?
correct.
You should be a mom. This is what, you're born to do.
Correct.
Correct. Again, society norms, right? So, and I'm glad I'm like such useful information we talked about today. But I don't want to, and going back to the second question that I wanted to ask, and I don't want to forget in this whole thing that where we are focusing on women, and you touched on it as well, that even fathers, right? New fathers go through PPD, right? So I don't want to ask this in terms of medical science related. I just want to ask in terms of, I mean, we support piece is still there, right?
Yes.
But how can we, for lack of better terms, how we can support males as well here, right? We are talking about females, we are talking about all the things that females are going. But is the same safe space can be applicable to males as well? I guess that's a better question right now. Yes.
Yeah. I would say it is even harder for them, right?
Mm,
They didn't give birth to the baby, right? They
yes.
didn't go through that physical, extensive physical stress that women just went through.
Correct.
And why they are complaining about the stress and anxiety, right? What did they do? So they have different pressures, right? They have different things that they are struggling with. And the lack of resources that are available, it makes it difficult for both men and women, right? What can they do?
Yes.
I think doctors are your best friends, right? Whatever you are feeling, whatever anxiety or stress you have, you need to communicate it to the doctor. They can definitely direct you to the right resources, right? And when I was going through it, when I didn't know I need to reach out to the doctor, I was Googling. I was like, what is this? Are there any resources, right? And I think even doing that, reaching out to your local therapists, that could be a good step as
Mm,
well, right? Reach out to a therapist, they can guide you to the right resource. Because I remember when this friend of mine who was refusing to take the medical help, I
mm,
was Googling in her city the nearby therapist specialized in women, and I was giving her contacts. Hey, do you want to reach out to this person, that person? And so she started with that. And then
mm.
they confirmed that what they are going through, they need medical help. We can keep talking, but this is not going to be resolved with talking, right?
Correct. Correct.
So having the resources, and when I started this page, there is a wonderful page on Instagram that I found, Postpartum International Support Group.
Oh,
That's
okay.
where you have everything, right? Based on your cities, even at a country level. What are
Okay.
those toll-free numbers that you can reach out to if you are going through some thoughts? You don't know what is your starting point. So that page is really good. And even on my page, when I went through it, I started this 30 days of healing series. So when I
Mm,
was healing from a traumatic event that I went through, what are the things that started helping me? Right? There are 30 things that I shared that I was doing every day, grounding,
mm,
breathing
mm.
techniques, meditation, doing what I love to do. So all those things. And then I have some pinned posts about what can you do to support your friend who is going through postpartum depression. So
Right.
I started creating that kind of content as well. So I
Awesome.
share, self-love, self-care content, but I also have, PPD specific content as well, and what that healing journey could look like to you. Even when you are a mother, when you don't have time, you still can do few things
Mm-hmm.
that can help you. Because I remember those days when even dressing up was a task for me. I would, stay in the same clothes. But I think those few things, along with medical help, right? If you start doing, you will start feeling yourself again. You
Wow.
will come out of it again. But those are the things that you need to just practice and force yourself to do, or have a group of women who are forcing you to do it,
Right.
coming to you and they're like, okay, go take a shower, I'm sitting with your baby, please do something up for your baby, right? So I think having that support of people around you, having right resources with you, it's so helpful to bring you out of you know
Wow, amazing. You're doing an amazing work, Tritika. I mean, wow,
thank
I
you.
just feel so happy to talk to you about it today. Whatever I'm gonna say, it's not gonna like do justice, to be honest. You are doing an amazing work. I cannot believe that, I reached out to you out of blue. I'm like, oh, she's doing great stuff. But now just hearing it from you, you have done like an amazing work out there to help people. So with that, I also have seen that some people are they hesitate, right?
Mhm.
To if somebody is reaching out to them. So is there anything we can tell to those people right now that if somebody is reaching out, like just take that hand, take that helping hand? How we can encourage those people?
One thing that you actually mentioned, being
Okay.
empathetic, right? Even if you do not know what PPD is, have some empathy. Stop just, ignoring or gaslighting the experiences that someone is going through. Oh, I'm also a mother. I also gave birth. You are not the special one, right? This is not how this is not how we were created. We are supposed to have that empathy towards each other because we are a community. We are social animal, right? We are here for each other. That's what we call a village, right? Especially for new moms, what that village is, your support group, who
Mm.
are there listening to you, listening to your needs, right? And being that empathetic towards you, that you need something. You are crying not because you are a bad mother, but something is going on in your mind, something is going on in your body, and you need help. Have that empathy. Be a good person. It doesn't cost much. Where is that kindness? How come we forget that kindness? If you have that kind corner in your heart, no matter what, a person is going through, what kind of medical condition they are going through, you can become that support person if you are a kind human being. So let's start with that first. Becoming a better person, grow yourself. We all make mistakes. We all, could be cruel to each other sometimes. But it just takes self-awareness to realize what happened, come out of it as a better person, and try good and try better. So being around with good people, kind people, can really change your life, can really help those people who get those intrusive thoughts and actually go do those steps. I wish there was someone for them to talk through it. I wish someone was there to say, what are you going to do? Why do you want to do this? Right? I'm here for you. Tell me what you need. That
Right.
thing can change life of so many people. So
Right.
it doesn't cost much. Let's start with kindness first.
Right, right. Oh my God, very well said. And for the person who's going through it, take that helping hand.
Yes.
Right? If somebody is reaching out, just take that helping hand. No matter what they are coming out with, like coming up with. Any help is a good help. If somebody is reaching out, count that as blessing.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Just talk to them. Because if they are reaching out, they are in the place where they are ready to help you. They're ready to guide you. But if you're not ready to take that helping hand, there's not much somebody other than your family members can do, right? Because nobody wants to force themselves
Yep.
onto the person, right?
Yeah, and
Right.
you said it good. You said it so well that if someone is coming to you for help, it's God giving you the opportunity. The universe is giving you the opportunity to do something good that you will feel good about throughout your life, right? It's a blessing. You need to be grateful for the fact that you were able to help somebody. My whole life, I'll be happy that I was able to help one person, right? So it's a blessing. And if you can do it, consider it as your blessing and just be kind, be there for that. person. And I think even on the other side, my friend who needed help, I
Mm-hmm.
imagine how much courage it took her to come out to me, because she was telling me that I'm ashamed to say that. So she still came out. So she was the one who actually did something courageous, not me, right? i
Mm-hmm.
i did what I the resources I had, or what I had gathered so far, but she did something that she wasn't sure if this is normal. She showed the courage. She wanted to feel better. So credit goes to her for reaching out to help and
Yes,
not
yes.
being where she was. So she helped herself, not me.
I mean, she reached out to the right person, and that's what's important, right? And I guess to your point earlier, find a clan who you know you can count on,
Hmm.
right? Like, I guess that's what we need to do. I guess we need to have all these things before pregnancy or while the person is pregnant. Like, we need to make them aware of, oh, these things might happen.
Correct.
Acceptance is one of the greatest things you can do in life. Like, regardless of what you're going through, what your kids are going through, right? Acceptance is the very first step of healing. If we don't do that acceptance step, it is hard. It is hard to heal.
Correct. Absolutely. You said it right. Once you know that some trauma has affected you, that's when you can reach out and start your healing journey, right?
Yes.
Even if I ask you right now, let's say you go through some adverse condition in your life, who will be those people that you can reach out to, that you
Right.
know will be able to help you? The first thing that you will think about is not the person who has the resources or the money or whatever you need at that point, but you will reach out to the person who will not judge you, who will not make you feel embarrassed for
Yes.
any condition that you are in. Maybe it is your mistake, but they will not make you feel at that point, because at that point you need the help and they'll be here with the support. And that's so important.
Wow. Yeah. I wish, Ritika, I knew you when I was going through it. I knew that I would have a help.
Yeah, thank you. And I wish I knew at that time. I could have helped myself earlier. But yeah, now that we know, now that we are aware, we could be those supporting people that we wish
Oh,
we
for
had at that
sure.
time, right? So we can still make an impact, and we can still impact and touch other new moms' lives. And that's exactly what I am trying to do, you are trying to do, and let's continue doing so.
Yes, I mean, and especially when I've started this journey to this point, like I am talking to amazing people like yourself, and every time I'm talking to somebody, I'm healing myself. Like, I'm getting to know more and more about life and, things like that. And I'm hoping that this transfers to whosoever is listening to. So be that support. Like, just show up for your friends, show up for your family, show up for anyone.
Yep,
Like, right? And
correct.
like how you rightly said, kindness doesn't take much. Like,
Yep,
just be kind out there.
correct. Exactly. You got it right, Neha.
Thank you so much, Tritika. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your energy. I'm feeling super energized right now, and I feel that energy from you. Thank you so much for sharing this space with me.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for inviting me. It was a pleasure talking to you and pleasure sharing my thoughts. It reminded me of why I'm doing what I'm doing and why I need to continue to do that.
Oh my God, pleasure is all mine. Thank you so much, Shritika.
Thanks a lot, Neha. Bye bye.